So the way Nintendo has been handling their messaging regarding video games and Nintendo Switch 2, I think has been annoying at best, frustrating for some people, and just infuriating for some people at worst. And look, I don't really fault Nintendo per se for how they're handling things. And I've said repeatedly, I think by the time we get to the end of September, we're going to think a lot differently about the future of Nintendo Switch 2, Nintendo Switch, and just Nintendo in general than we do right now. But that doesn't mean the messaging hasn't been confusing. It doesn't mean they haven't tried burying certain things they knew would have negative reactions. And frankly, it's just really hard if you're somebody who's not just a casual Nintendo fan, but somebody who, hey, wants to always know what's coming, to not be at least a little bit perturbed at the way Nintendo is managing their messaging to consumers. That being said, we're going to talk about this in depth. I just want to remind you, we are on our road to 160,000 subscribers. I had to think about that for a moment. If you guys are enjoying this content and you want more of it, let me know by subscribing to the channel and dropping a like on this video. Now, this was actually all brought on to me by a thread over on Family Boards, and I'm going to link that thread down below because, hey, they were the ones that inspired this video, so they deserve credit for it existing. So thank you to the users over there for having this conversation. But my big thing with Nintendo has been, I am a content creator, right? So obviously I'm always on like the bleeding edge of the news cycle and the rumors and the leaks. And sure, there's stuff I could have talked about today besides this, but overall, the reason that even some people get frustrated with the leaks and the rumors is just because Nintendo, they frankly haven't done a good job communicating to their most faithful user base. Let's just be honest. People who pick up a Switch 2 from launch or in that launch window are typically the most hardcore fans of a given company, and that includes me. And because of that, the messaging to those fans matters a lot. And the messaging right now, I don't think has been very good. We haven't had a general direct since before the system came out, a month before the system came out. And in that general direct, we saw a bunch of games, but many of which don't even have release dates. We don't know when things are coming. Sure, we know about Splatoon Raiders. They announced that through Nintendo today. We know about other games coming as well, like Age of Imprisonment. They just had that in a recent Nintendo Direct partner showcase, but then didn't give us a date. In fact, this is a very strange time for Nintendo because if you go all the way back to 2017 and how things were handled throughout the Switch generation, we always kind of knew what was coming next. There were select periods that we didn't. I remember 2020 distinctly being a very strange time, but we had COVID going on. We're after Animal Crossing. We just didn't really know about anything for many months. Really got cleared up in September, but it was a very strange period then. But at that point, we had already had multiple years of consistency from Nintendo where we always knew what was coming, and we knew basically when those things were coming. They didn't make us wait until just a couple months before something comes out, or even a month before something comes out, to know it was releasing. But some of this frustration dates a little bit back to what they did towards the end of the Switch generation, but honestly, it seems to be a change of pace from Shintaro Furukawa, the president of Nintendo, the CEO, the guy at the top of the mountain, who has decided that the marketing campaign for Nintendo Switch 2 is going to involve not giving us the information we want until the last possible moment. I'll give you an example. Nintendo very well might have a big game dropping in September. Could be a shadow drop. We don't know if that's the case. Interesting. But there's probably one of these games they've announced and talked about coming in September. It is now the middle of August, and if there is a game coming in September, we sure as hell don't know about it because the next game on the calendar that isn't DLC, no offense, Kirby, but the next thing on the calendar that isn't DLC is 2 months away in Pokemon Legends EA. And that was announced by the Pokemon Company. They actually did the thing that a lot of us want Nintendo to do, and that's let us know about release dates in a semi-timely manner. Now, I understand that Nintendo's games might be developed all the way up to the last month before the game comes out, and so maybe it's hard to lock down an exact date, but even giving like a month would have been nice. Like if they know what's going to be in September, why can't they tell us that this game's coming in September? Why can't they tell us this game's coming in November, or this game is targeting December? Why is it general 2025s or 2026s or even seasons? And look, I'm a little bit less perturbed about seasons like winter. That at least gives us a 3 to 4 month window, but it's still just really interesting to me when Nintendo has a new platform with new games announced, but no release dates. And again, if we had a Nintendo Direct by now, maybe this frustration would be gone at General Direct. But we have to be honest. We have to be extremely honest in this situation. It is frustrating. We didn't have this happen during the Switch generation or the 3DS generation. We had game droughts on the Wii U for sure. So we're not going to act like this wasn't something that happened on the Wii U, but we're not even having game droughts. We had an exclusive game published by Nintendo launch every single month so far. Whether or not you're into Dragon Drive, it is a new game that came out this month. And there's new DLC coming this month as well. We have obviously a new game in October, so as long as they drop something next month or 2 games in November, October, or December, they're going to maintain that pace of averaging 1 published one per month. But what I don't understand, and this is just me being honest, is why this feels so stressful to people that own a Switch 2. And I wanted to think about this after reading that thread at Family Boards, and I came to some interesting conclusions. One, I think some of us realize we spent a lot of money on this system. It's an expensive system. I'm not saying it's not worth the money, cost of manufacturing. It's $410 to even get a unit to a retail store. So I'm not even saying that the Switch 2 is overpriced, despite what some folks might out there think as a system. But I do think that because we spent so much, we expect more, right? We don't just expect new third-party announcements, which I think are coming. We did get some of them at the partner showcase, but I think we also just expect to know the roadmap for the first 6 months of the platform. I don't think that that is a crazy notion to expect. We probably should have knew that roadmap before the system even came out, and they didn't tell us that. And here we are in the 3rd month of the platform being on the market, and we still don't know that roadmap. We know what we think is supposed to come this year. Nintendo said Metroid Prime 4. They said Kirby Air Riders are 2025. Splatoon Raiders has no date. There's no guarantee that's this year. Age of Imprisonment is up in the air. Winter could be obviously the early months of 2026. And then we have 2 Switch 2 edition games, right? The roadmap feels sparse. It feels like we don't really know what's going on. And again, by the end of September, I think we're going to feel different about this. I think the roadmap will take shape, or maybe it won't. Maybe it's going to be another frustrating set of circumstances because September could come. Maybe there is no game in September, but they announced release dates for obviously October, November, December. They do line up that holiday slate. And then when we get to January, or really the end of December, we're in the same boat where we don't really know what's coming or when it's coming. And I realize we could just be patient and wait for that February Direct, but why are we always having to wait for that next big Direct to know what the hell is the next thing coming? Again, the only Switch 2 exclusive game that had a release date just released. It was Dragon Drive. Nothing else coming to Switch 2, made for Switch 2, has a release date right now. That should never happen before we get to the next Direct. That's just my opinion. And to be fair, that used to never be the case. We used to always know what was coming next before the Direct would happen, and then the Direct would just add to our excitement and reveal more stuff coming down the line. But Nintendo's changed strategies. They've gone to this thing where we're going to give you the least amount of news we possibly can until we are really, really close to releasing a product. And yeah, that gives us a really short, massive hype cycle. They kind of did that with Tears of the Kingdom a little bit, although there was some minor marketing for it over the years. So not quite the same thing, but hey, that was when it really started, where we were wondering, when are we going to actually learn what this game is or big things about this game? Well, it happened about a month before the game came out with a 10-minute presentation by Eiji Aonuma. And that's wild to me that they waited until just then to kind of let us know what a game is. I don't know about you guys, and maybe it just has to do with the fact that I'm a YouTuber, but I think even as a consumer, it's a little frustrating. Not because I don't have things to play. There's always games to play, and I play on multiple platforms. There's lots of things I'm excited for, and all the game demos this month are really cool, and I'm going to actually get to play some of those game demos. So that's even cooler, but it's not the same thing. I don't know when things are coming. I don't know what to be excited for. I'll give you an example. We just ended one of our giveaways, and babe, I'd like to start up a new giveaway for this video, but I want to give away specific games, and right now, the only game with a release date is Pokemon Legends ZA, so I guess that's the giveaway I start. But what if there is a big game? What if Metroid Prime 4 is coming in September? I'd rather do giveaways for that, but giving giveaways for games that hypothetically are coming out and have, supposed 2025 dates is weird, right? It's weird. I can't give away something that has no tangible release date that I can't plot my money on down right now and guarantee people could get this year. What if it doesn't come out till June of next year, and then my financial situation is different, and I promised like 6 giveaways, and now I'm like, oh crap, because everything got all misconstrued. I don't know what I'm doing. And again, that's more content creator bullshit. But the point I'm making is, as a gamer, it's so frustrating. And I don't know if this is going to be a pattern for the entire Switch 2 generation. And if it is, man, we're in for a wild ride. I got to be completely honest. Leaks and rumors are really just going to dominate the news cycle. They already are fairly prevalent, and I love covering them. But they're literally just going to dominate everything because Nintendo's not giving information until the games are basically already in our laps. And some of you might appreciate that marketing style. Maybe it's for you. And I think for the casual consumer, like my kids and stuff like that, you know, don't pay attention to this stuff every day. They don't really think about it. Just a new game comes out. They didn't even know the new game was coming out despite their dad being a news person. And then they just see me play it and they get excited by it and then they want it, right? I think casual consumers aren't as concerned about this, but the fan base Nintendo has right now on Switch 2 is probably not the casual consumer base. It's the ones that are willing to do day one, spend $500+ on the system to get your system, get your accessories, maybe get an extra game with it. Hell, maybe they're even buying Welcome Tour, right? This is the audience you have. The audience that wants to give you their money, but you need to give them a reason to do so. And they bought your system maybe because of Mario Kart, maybe because of Donkey Kong, or maybe just on the faith that you were going to deliver like you did on Nintendo Switch. And to be clear, you still might deliver, and this still could be an amazing 6 to 8 year run. Probably will be, I hope so, but for the sake of my channel, it better be. That being said, it is frustrating, and I want to know how frustrated you guys are about this as well. I don't know that Furukawa is going to change course. Obviously, the way that he's been running things is working. I just don't like it. And I think a lot of us don't like it either, not knowing what the next 6 months is. A lot of us like to plan our purchases and save up money, and it's really hard to plan purchases when you don't know what's coming or when it's coming. Or in the case of like Kirby Air Riders, that game's coming out this year. We're in August. We still haven't seen gameplay, and I know Sakurai has promised we're going to see gameplay relatively soon. Of course, the last time that he was talking about something happening soon, it was like 6 months later. Now, I'm not saying this game's been delayed into 6 months from now, but my point is that it's like, that's what we're getting excited about. We're getting excited about the person making one of these games we're excited for, teasing us that we're finally going to see gameplay of a game that's coming out this year when there's only like 3.5 months left in the year. Why haven't we seen gameplay of this yet? It's strange to me. This isn't really about when Nintendo has Nintendo Directs. It's about what they're giving us in that Direct. Like, I'll tell you right now, as a fan of Zelda who loves and is really excited for Age of Imprisonment, I'm going to tell you this. Honestly, that gameplay clip you showed told me nothing as a fan I didn't already know because there was no release date. That gameplay trailer hits different if you put a release date, or at least a release month. We could wrap our minds around a release month for the game. So a lot of us are like, why even show that again if you're not ready to give a release date? I'm going to say the same thing, by the way, for this general Direct next month. I don't want to see Splatoon Raiders again if you're not giving me a release date. I don't want to see Kirby Air Riders if you're not giving me a release date. I don't want to see Metroid Prime 4 if you're not giving me a release date. Because what's the point? You're getting us excited for something that we have no idea when we can play. And that's fine when you're teasing something years away. Like, you want to drop a teaser for a new Zelda game that's not coming for 3 years. We understand that. We know how the Zelda marketing cycle goes. You want to tease 3D Mario for next year like you did Dust Bloods. We understand that. We know how that marketing cycle goes. What we don't understand is that we have 3.5 months left in the year. There's supposedly at least 3 big games dropping during that time period that we're aware of, and we know almost nothing about these games, or the ones we do know about, we still don't have release dates for. It's very frustrating as a consumer who's trying to figure out where our money has to be budget-wise to afford all of this, because games are now more expensive than ever at $70, and in Mario Kart's case, $80. Okay. So now that that's off my chest, I really want to know, what do you guys think? Mostly a rambling video here, probably really repetitive. It is what it is. This is how my mind is functioning. So you just got what's going through my mind so I can move on, talk about something else. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll catch you in the next video.